Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking the chaotic, often unbelievable world of anonymous internet relationship stories, and we're transforming them into a fascinating mirror that reflects society's wildest behaviors. We are going to break down the psychology of how people treat each other when they think no one else is watching, and what happens when the hidden rules of human interaction are completely shattered. It's going to be a wild ride.
Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're looking at 4 overarching themes. Number 1, the boundary breakers. 2, bizarre social etiquette. 3, betrayals and petty revenge. And 4, the ultimate takeaway.
Starting right off with Section 1, the boundary breakers. These are some extreme cautionary tales.
But before we look at our first case study, let's anchor ourselves in some actual relationship terminology. An ultimatum. Basically, it's a final demand. It is the absolute end of the road in a negotiation. Keep this definition in mind as we look at the wildly escalating story of a newly single guy named Jude who just simply could not handle being alone.
So, in the saga of the couch takeover, Jude essentially moved into his best friend Kelly's apartment for a month after his breakup. And when I say moved in, I mean he was showing up at 2 p.m. and refusing to leave until 11 p.m. every single day. Now, Kelly's boyfriend, who pays half of the rent, reasonably asks Jude to leave so they can just maintain some sanity and get to sleep. But Kelly entirely ignores his boundaries. In fact, instead of compromising, she throws her own boyfriend into a group chat so her friends can toxically dogpile and roast him. Facing a total loss of his own living space, the boyfriend had no choice but to deliver a firm ultimatum to take his apartment back. Now, what's really interesting is the exact text the boyfriend sent. He wrote, "The sheer audacity of this man who pays absolutely nothing for our apartment. It perfectly captures the moment the boundary was finally enforced. He provided a completely justified, impartial breakdown of the violation. He just stripped all the emotion right out of it and pointed to the pure facts. You do not pay rent. This is my home. You have to leave." We see another completely bizarre example of boundary breaking in our next story. Get this. A well-meaning girlfriend decided to boost her insecure boyfriend's self-esteem by making him a Tinder profile, just to show him that other women would find him attractive. I mean, talk about handing someone the keys to the getaway car, right? Predictably, after getting a dozen matches, he started messaging them to meet up. They broke up and he kept the profile. It's a striking lesson in why you really shouldn't introduce extreme variables into a closed relationship ecosystem. All right, let's move to Section 2, bizarre social etiquette, defying conventions. Let's contrast a couple of downright bizarre etiquette violations. First up, a girl insists on baking a cake containing nuts for a birthday party where a guest has a severe nut allergy. And then she gets completely outraged when she's disinvited to protect the allergic guest. Next, we have a daughter's boyfriend who attends family dinners, takes full plates of expensive, home-cooked food, pushes it around to make it look eaten, and then directly throws it in the trash. Why? Due to a self-reported phobia of being seen eating. Both of these actions fundamentally break the unwritten social contract of being a guest, resulting in massive relationship damage and ruined family dinners. And then, we have etiquette dilemmas that sound like they belong in a sitcom. Just listen to this dilemma. Would I be the asshole for skipping a lizard's gender reveal? Seriously, a 23-year-old child-free woman decides to host a joke gender reveal for her pet blue-tongued skink, and she invites her 48-year-old father. He outright refuses. The dad replied with this blunt gem: "I'm not coming to a gender reveal unless it's for a real granddaughter." Looking at this impartially, you really have to ask yourself, is his refusal a firm, healthy boundary regarding what kinds of events he's willing to spend his time on? Or is it just petty, unsupportive parenting over a harmless joke? It perfectly shows how subjective social etiquette can be across generations. Okay, let's look at Section 3, betrayals and petty revenge. This is where the behavior gets pretty severe. Here, we have an example of a truly severe familial betrayal. A bride secretly hired her sister's ex-fiancé as the wedding photographer. Now, this is a man the sister endured a 7-year financially and emotionally abusive relationship with. Contrast the two viewpoints. The bride is totally dismissive, saying it's not a big deal and too late to change. But the sister, who, by the way, was supposed to be the maid of honor, points out the massive disrespect of intentionally hiding this until the last minute just to trap her into attending. It's a staggering lack of empathy. But hey, betrayal in academia can be just as ruthless. Let's map out this complex chain of events in what we're calling the blackmail thesis plot. 6 months ago, 2 college students, the original poster, and a girl named Danielle, stopped being friends due to toxic behavior. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago, and Danielle suddenly demands the poster write her 50-page thesis under threat of ruining her life. Just one day before the climax, the poster finds a physical blackmail note and a USB stick with thesis instructions left at her home. Finally, at the deadline, instead of folding, the poster brilliantly confesses the entire situation to the department head. So, what was the actual threat?
Danielle said, "Write it or else she'll tell everyone, including the police, about the stuff that I did." Basically, Danielle was trying to weaponize the poster's secret, brief relationship with a young professor from another department to extort a free degree. It was a super high-stakes betrayal, but by bringing it straight to the administration, the poster neutralized the blackmail entirely, and Danielle's plot just collapsed.
Sometimes, though, a betrayal of your core values is enough to end things instantly. Take the missing cat prank. An 18-year-old girl watches her boyfriend and his friends call the number on a missing pet poster just to cruelly trick an older couple into searching a park for a cat that wasn't even there. She evaluated this severe moral infraction, realized exactly who her partner was, and immediately walked away from the relationship. No arguments, just immediate action. And this brilliantly illustrates the other side of the coin, petty revenge. A husband was furious that his wife's friend insulted her at a wedding brunch by looking at her formal outfit and saying, "Wow, you look comfy." So he devised a massive, decade-long plan. He waited for formal gatherings and would politely drop lines to the friend like, "I love how you just don't care about vanity." The genius here is the sheer ambiguity of it. The friend's gears are constantly turning, wondering if it's a compliment or an insult. And step 4, he plans to repeat this until one of them dies. Truly an absolute masterclass in long-game passive aggressiveness. Which brings us to our final section, the ultimate takeaway on human behavior. So the crucial point is, what do all of these extreme digital cautionary tales actually teach us? Well, when communication completely breaks down, successful conflict resolution largely falls into these buckets. About half the time, the only solution is to set and enforce a firm, non-negotiable boundary, kind of like kicking out that freeloading best friend. 35% of the time, the healthiest move is to just walk away completely, like the girlfriend who witnessed that cruel cat prank. And of course, 15% of the time, human nature just takes over and people resort to slow, petty, passive-aggressive revenge. These stories might seem totally chaotic, but they're incredibly revealing data points on how to navigate the complex social webs we weave every single day. So I'll leave you with this final thoughts. If your worst relationship moments were analyzed and broken down, what would they teach us? Think about that the next time someone crosses your boundaries. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.